how to use an intelligent robot that's going to assess and qualify your leads for you so that you can only deal with the right type of quality lead for your business. What's going on, ladies and gents? My name is Wandile Mr. W, and I work closely with real estate agents. We personally help them attract, qualify, and book automatic appointments with buyers and sellers using AI. If you want to get a lot of value in this, guys, feel free to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Let's jump straight into the video, guys. So one of the main issues I've been noticing when it comes to this real estate industry is that many agents are still super traditional. They're still living like they're in the 80s. Everything that they do is manual. Okay, and how long does it take for you guys to do manual things? It takes a lot of time, especially when it comes to qualifying leads. I know many of you guys are using lists and databases from all these different platforms and these sources. Okay, but the problem is when you have access to that lead, you don't know where they're from. You don't know if they're the right lead. You don't know if they have high intentions of selling or buying, right? You don't know. So now you have to manually go and contact that lead and see if they're ready to go. What if I had to tell you there was a better, faster, and easier and a simpler way? By utilizing an AI robot that's going to ask them the right questions. And on top of that, if, for example, they answer a question that may not be favorable to what you want, we can actually tell the robot to essentially tell it, hey, give us a little bit of more information here, or what do you mean by that? So that we can actually assess and see whether this lead is ready to go or not. At the end of the day, guys, business is all about intention. If you can find someone who's got the right intention, then you can focus on getting a lot of success faster and better and quicker and easier, as opposed to having to first go and figure out their intention and then having to showcase why you're the best agent. No, guys, let's fast forward to us knowing what the lead's intention is so that we can move forward to the next step of the sales process instead of us having to manually call them, sell them on who we are, see if where they're ready to go, qualifying them. No, we ain't got time for that, guys. Let's focus more on intention. And I'm going to walk you through how this robot helps you get there. Anyway, let's jump straight into my computer and I'll show you how to do this and build this out for yourself so that you can start getting leads with high intentions. All right, guys, let's jump straight into the meat and potatoes of the video. This is what I'm going to be covering, and then I'll walk you through a live example of how this works. So let's jump straight into it. Let me actually zoom in this side. All right, cool, guys. So let's dive into it. All right, cool, guys. So when it comes to this process, it's very important to understand why this is important and why this is needed. Because what I've noticed working with over 500 plus agents is that they have certain variables that work very well and there's certain variables that don't work very well. So let me give you an example of what I mean by that. Okay, so let's say you have a car, okay? But in your car, let's say the engine isn't working well. Or let's say the engine isn't working. So even though you have a perfectly running car or a perfectly built car, if the engine is not working, the car's not going to move, right? Or let's say, for example, the engine is working well, but then you're missing one tire in the back. Is the car going to be moving at maximum speed and efficiency? No. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is that with every car, there's probably hundreds and thousands of different pieces or parts that work well together to keep the car moving at efficient and fast speed. And the minute there's an issue with one part or a couple of parts that is important for the car to move at that fast and efficient speed, the minute there's a faulty or the minute there's something that's wrong, the car doesn't move as efficiently, which means that it will take you more time to get to your destination, or your car might break down and you need to fix that. So the point I'm trying to make here is that when it comes to real estate agents and when they try to do this themselves, 9 times out of 10 is they have a car that's half done, right? Not all the parts are built out perfectly well. So for some of you guys, maybe like, I'm having troubles with this. I don't know what I'm getting wrong. It could be the fact that your car isn't 100% perfect, okay? There could be a faulty in the engine. There could be a faulty in the tires. There's something wrong with your car. And I would say that this autopilot qualification process is an important aspect of your entire framework of your customer acquisition process. When I say customer acquisition, it's really just your process to get buyers and sellers on autopilot. And this is a big one. So what do I mean by that is people will learn how to run ads and they now know how to attract leads. But now the problem is they don't know how to qualify those leads, which means that there's a lot of issues. So this is one of the big parts. So let's say, for example, you have been running your ads, right? And you know how to now attract leads coming over towards you. But the problem is the leads that you're getting, let's say it's not good quality, you're not happy with the leads, etc., etc. There's a very high chance that you are not qualifying those leads and filtering those leads as soon as possible and as quickly as possible for you to see who in order of importance and priority needs to be focused on. Because I always like to say that there's 3 types of leads you're going to engage with. There's the hot, there's the warm, and there's the cold. I don't even like to say that there's cold leads. I like to call them nurture leads, because at the end of the day, somebody will need to buy, they will need to buy or sell regardless. Okay. But for the sake of this example, guys, in every market, there's people who are ready to sell or buy. There's people who are thinking of selling and buying. There's people who are not ready yet, but they will eventually. That's how I view hot, warm, and cold leads. Hot leads are people where like you could just breathe and they're ready to go. Warm leads is they're in their research mode, they're researching, they're thinking about it, but it is the next step ultimately, right? It just could be a logistics thing or something that's holding them back before they proceed, right? And then the cold or slash the nurture leads is they're not ready now, right? It's going to take a little bit of time, but they will in future. So guys, there are these types of leads everywhere in the world, right? In your market, there are these types of leads roaming around. Otherwise, then there wouldn't be any sales. There wouldn't be new mandates on the market. There wouldn't be people crushing it in your market, okay? So these people are there. So now, how do we find the hot leads immediately or the super warm leads immediately so that we're not wasting our time? This is how you do it. So first things first, guys, we need to have an ad that's going to attract these types of leads. Now, this is another thing I noticed is that with many agents, what they would do is that they would run their own ads online. And this is the issue that I always see all the time, okay? They'd run the ads and then let's say they're like, oh, I'm just getting bad leads, they're cold leads or they nurture leads, as I like to call them. And when I look at their messaging of the ad, well, yeah, it's very broad, right? It's not attracting people who are hot or warm. Because look at it this way, guys. If you are a hot lead, your mindset is thinking completely different, and what would attract you to a particular ad would be completely different to someone that's warm, to someone that's cold. As I've said, guys, hot leads think a certain way. Hot leads need someone who's going to help them now, right? So the messaging that they would be attracted to would be more focused on providing that particular service that's going to help them now. What's going to attract them is the right messaging that's going to get them to be like, hey, wait a minute, that's me. Okay, so let me give you an example, all right? So let's say if you're like, hey, are you struggling to sell your house right now? It's been 3 months and you need to desperately sell at the moment. We can help you by X and X and X. Can you see? We're speaking to a hot lead, right? Because we are tapping into the mindset and perspective that they have. So the ad automatically is going to attract that lead because they're like, hey, yes, that's me. Okay. The same way when I'm running my ads, I'm speaking particularly to people who are cold calling and sick and tired of it and they want to do something different, but they know there's something different. They just don't know what it is. Okay. That's how I'm speaking to my leads, right? So messaging is very important. The warm leads are people who are thinking. So, hey, are you thinking about selling your house? Hey, are you thinking about buying? Right? So that's what's going to attract warm leads because they're like, hey, yes, I'm raising my hand. I am thinking of buying or selling. Okay. And that's how you attract warm leads. But now if you're just going to say, hey, I'm a real estate agent, I can help you. Then why are you surprised when you're attracting cold leads? Okay. Now it's not to say that if you have a particular message, you're only going to attract hot leads. The thing is, guys, when you run your ads utilizing AI and the algorithm is finding the leads for you, here's the thing. It's going to show your ads to hundreds and thousands of people. So, of course, we want to focus on majority or a good portion of them being hot and warm, but you are also going to attract nurture type of leads. This is the way that it is because people click, right? Anyway, so now that we've got the attraction magnet, which is the ad, and the messaging is very important. Okay, if you guys want me to do ads, a video on how to create the right messaging, let me know. But now that we have the attraction magnet, as you can see there, right? Our ad needs to be a throat-grabbing ad that's literally just going. Like, can you see how Tom is just so magnetically attracted to that attractive cat? That is our ad, right? It's that attractive cat. Okay, that's just pulling our leads towards them. We need that, number one. So once we've got the leads that are interested, people are like, hey, yes, I'm raising my hand because that is me. We need a robot that's going to act as a gatekeeper, because if we don't have a gatekeeper that's going to filter, right, the intention of these leads, right? Remember, we need a robot that's going to filter the intention of the hot lead, the warm lead, and the cold lead. Right, let me put this here, right? And the cold lead, because at the end of the day, We want to make sure that we are only going to be prioritizing people who have high intentions of moving forward, or they've got a medium priority in terms of moving forward. Those who aren't ready yet, it's okay. We want to then have a system in place that's going to help them in future. But for now, the robot's purpose, which is the gatekeeper, is to filter out people who have high intentions and people who have warm intentions, right? Medium intentions. Because at the end of the day, these guys could be converted if you know exactly what you need to say. And if you guys want me to do a video on how to do proper sales strategies to convert warm into hot leads, not to say that you're going to convert everyone, but those who are closable, they can immediately move over to hot. And guys, warm leads are the easiest leads to convert if you know what you're doing. But I don't want to digress here. Okay, so the whole purpose of this robot is to use the filtration process to close these leads. So what do I mean by that, right? So we want this robot that's essentially, we essentially want this robot, okay, that's going to be the gatekeeper for all these types of leads that are coming in from the ad. Because remember, you don't know from the leads that are coming in who's hot, who's warm, who's cold. All the system is going to tell you, hey, you received 100 leads this week, right? Or hey, you got 10 leads today. But you don't know out of these 10 who's hot, who's warm, who's cold. So that's why we've got the robot, okay, to act as a gatekeeper so that it can essentially test or qualify these leads' intentions. So when I say you're qualifying, for example, sellers, you're qualifying the seller's intention in terms of how soon are they ready to sell, right? Instead of you just automatically assuming, oh, they clicked on my ad, therefore this should be a hot lead. No, that's what would happen to most clients. No, you want to have a robot that's going to filter out their intention, so that once it's done filtering out their intention, it's going to put them into 3 categories, right? It wants to segment them. So we've got the high priority leads, those who are ready to go immediately. Then there's the medium priority leads who are thinking about it, okay? There's maybe a little bit of skepticism where you just need to walk them through a few things before they become a high priority lead. And then we've got the low priority leads, right? People who aren't ready yet, but they will be in future, but we don't want to put our time and effort into these type of leads. Because if you don't have a robot, guys, a gatekeeper that's going to qualify and filter out their intention, you're going to have so many leads coming in, but the problem is you don't know who's hot, who's warm, who's cold. So now let's say you have 100 leads and you only speak to 20, but those 20 were cold and maybe some of them were a bit warm. Now you're like, oh, these leads are crap. But you don't know out of those 100 who's actually hot. And there could be some hot leads, but the problem is you just automatically telling yourself, no, these are bad leads. So the whole purpose of the robot, guys, is to filter out these type of leads that are coming in so that you know exactly who's a high priority lead, who's a medium priority lead, who's a low priority lead. And every lead is convertible, is closable. I was about to say convertible. But every lead is closable, but according to priority, right? Because we want to get the cash lock faster and quicker. The high priority leads and the medium priority leads are the ones that are going to close a lot faster. So let me walk you through how to essentially build out this gatekeeper that will filter out these leads so that you know exactly who is a high priority lead, who's a medium priority lead, who's a low priority lead. Now, this is a very high level option, guys. If you want to find out more how to do this in detail, DM me AI on Instagram or on my Facebook page, or even just put that in the comment section, and I will send you some free training on how you can do that yourself in full detail. I've got a full training in terms of how it's done, especially if you're struggling with that. Cool. So let me walk you through how to find that baby. So right here, guys, this is called a lead form. So we like to use forms, and we also like to utilize landing pages. I like to personally utilize forms so that we go through the first conversion process, which is to get an idea in terms of where they're at personally. And then we'll have a landing page that would get more extra information. Now, you don't have to go both routes. Some clients get amazing results just by using this. Some clients would need both. Because let's say, for example, you can easily get 100 leads in a week, okay? Then would suggest landing pages, just purely because then we can use forms. I'm going to show you now, conditional logic forms, and then we can also utilize landing pages to make sure that we're only getting a good stream of high leads coming, quality leads coming in. But if you're getting a low volume of leads, then the form would work best instead of the landing pages from what I've seen, so that we're still getting a volume of leads, but we're still asking the right questions to see if whether this lead is ready to go or not. Okay. Now, for those who've already utilized conditional logic, maybe there might be one or two things that you haven't really picked up on from a psychological aspect, which I'm going to cover in today's video. And if you know nothing about conditional logic, well, I'm going to walk you through the power behind it and why you would need to use it. Okay. So I want to cater to both types of people who are watching this type of video. So cool. First things first, guys. So how I got here, very simple, guys. Create a campaign, lead ad campaign. I'm not going to cover in terms of how to do a campaign, how to do an ad set. DM me AI. I'll send the free training where you learn how to do all the basics. For now, I'm jumping straight into the form, which is the filtration process of what we want to do. Again, for those who need a reminder, it's basically this baby here. All right. So once the leads have been coming in, or people are attracted to the lead and they're ready to go, how do we filter out and make sure that we know exactly who's high priority, medium, and low priority? Cool. So this is a form. Let's call this form, I'm going to call it, let's just say we're running ads in Santon, and let's just say seller intention or seller intent. Okay. So cool. I always like to say, there we go. So it wants to find out, hey, do you want to use a form that's quick to fill out and submit on a mobile device? Or do you want to add a review step that gives people a chance to confirm the information? Higher intention, guys, because remember, we want people who are on the higher intention side so we can get more people who are ready to go. And I will cover in terms of what are some of the drawbacks of this option versus high volume. So high intention means that you're going to get people who have high intention, so better quality leads, but the volume is going to be low. So for example, if you are going to get 10 leads utilizing the more volume option, here I'm not to say that this is the standard, but just to give you an example, these leads may be about 4 leads compared to more volume that it's probably 10. But the problem is with the 10 leads, if you don't have the qualification and the filtration process in place, now you have to manually call these leads and see who's hot or not, and that's going to take away time. So we want more high intent so that we're only dealing with people that have a high intention, and that's why I like to utilize the high intention. Now, for the intro side, not going to focus too much on the intro. I do have full training which covers in terms of what to put in your form. I really want to focus more a little bit on the qualification process, and this is what's important, okay? So let's say, for example, your intro, let's say get your free CMA report, right, as an example. I'm going to just put that in there so that you guys get an idea. And then let's say click and continue to proceed. For example, okay. Now, here's what you can do. There's multiple options, guys. So you can get them to give you their email, their full name, their phone number, their street address. We personally like to get their name, their email, their phone number, and their street address. These are very important. You can also now, there's an optional option. Back in the day, there wasn't this. So there is optional, but personally, this needs to be important. We need their email, we need their phone number, we need their street address, right? Because we need to get an idea in terms of where do they stay, what's their number, and what's their email in case we can't contact them on their phone or via email. All right. So you can also add more stuff, guys. You can ask for their state, their city, their country. You could also ask for their date of birth and their marital status, the job title. Guys, none of that is important. I would just say these 4 are important, and people actually do give us this information, by the way. So we're happy for that. So again, for us, we just this is how I like to view it from a psychological perspective, guys. And this is why this video is important, especially for those who are struggling to get let's say a good volume of leads coming in, or don't really understand or the psychological aspect of this. Guys, we want the type of leads that are going to go through the entire process. Because if someone is going to fill out this entire form, then I know for a fact that there's a very high chance that this is a highly intentional lead. When you have different levels of how do I say it? When you let me rather put it this way, guys. If you really want to do something, or if you really need help and assistance with something, no matter how many levels or barriers that they put towards you, if you really need it, you'll go through those barriers. You'll go through that process because you need whatever that business or whatever that company can provide. So I always like to make this example. If you go to a doctor and you've never been to that doctor for the first time, if you're really sick and you really need help, okay, and they give you a form to fill out, you will fill it out, because if you're really sick and you need to go see the doctor, you'll fill out that form. But now let's say you're like, you know what, I've been thinking about going to a doctor. I don't know if I'm sick. I don't know what's wrong with me, but I'm not sure. When they give you that form and you're like, I don't know if I have time right now to fill out this form. I've got other things to do. And you're like, you know what, it's fine. I'll come back later. So how it works from a psychological aspect, especially when it comes to your clients, is that you want to have these processes in place, okay, so that when you finally get the lead to come through, you know that they went through all these hoops that you've put them specifically through, so that you know that this is someone who's serious. Whereas if you're just going to let everyone come in, then it's very difficult for you to see who's actually serious or not. So sometimes, guys, having this process in place as a first step is an easy way to test and qualify their intention to see, are you going to give me your name, your email, your phone number, and your street address? Because if you're not going to do that, then they're not going to close anyway. Now, of course, there's going to be high network people or high net worth people, for example, who are very wary of their information. So they may not go through this process specifically, but they will reach out to you directly. Okay, so there's going to be two types of leads. But what you want to do, and the reason why this is important, we want to qualify their intention. If they're not going to go through this process, then they were not going to close anyway. So if they can fill out their email, their phone number, their street address, they have a very high intention. And it's up to you now to see where they're at and how you can help them. So that's very important. So cool. Once that's done, then we'll add in a privacy policy, which is a link text. I've got that in my training. I'm not going to cover that right now. And then we've got the review screen, where basically this is what it would look like. So here's a preview where they can slide to submit to say, hey, by clicking submit, you agree to send your info to Wandile, who agrees to use it according to his privacy policy. And once they slide to submit, then there's the message for lead. So if this is someone who's qualified, hey, you can visit our website. Normally what we'll do is that we'll have a link to our landing page where they can go and click on that link, and then we can further qualify them for people who want to go immediately or people who want to proceed. Now, how do we filter out their information? Because, we had the questions here, which was basically their full name, the email, the phone number, the street address. But it was like, Wandile, how do I know if this person's ready to go or not? Okay, so this is where conditional logic comes into play. So the whole purpose of conditional logic is that you want to create a form that changes based on how questions are answered and filter people as a lead or non-lead. That's the whole purpose of conditional logic. Now you're telling the system that, hey, if somebody says this, then qualify them as a lead. But if somebody says this, you can even say, ask them a question so that we can verify whether this is going to be a good lead or not. But if someone says this, then you want to disqualify them. And I'll show you exactly what I mean by that. So we want to switch that conditional logic option on. Okay. Now that we have the conditional logic option on, this is what we can do. Now we can ask more questions. So we can ask a question from a multiple choice perspective. We can ask them to answer a question where they can provide a short answer. We can get them to request an appointment, or they can see where you're based, just so we can see how we can help them. My personal advice, guys, multiple choice questions work very well. Or you can also utilize short answers are great because you're actually getting them to type in. And that's also a great way to get them more invested. Guys, if you have more people investing their time with you, there's a very high chance where they're going to close. Okay, but if you essentially providing, or if they have, if they're not investing a lot of time with you, guess what happens? Then there isn't enough, there's lack of trust. There's lack of that urgency for them to move forward with you because they haven't invested their time. Think about this for a second. How often have you had conversations with people where you've heard where it's like, this guy wants to divorce his woman, this husband wants to divorce his woman, his wife, or this wife wants to divorce the husband, and they're like, oh, I can't leave this person because I've put so much time into this. I've invested so much time. Guys, the things that we really care about, we invest our time in. Okay, and the more time we invest in it, it's very hard for us to let it go because we've invested so much of our time with that thing or that person or that business. So the reason why I'm saying this is because when you have conditional logic, you are investing, you're getting them to invest their what? Their time. Guys, everyone's most valuable, precious resource is their time. And if you can get someone to invest their time with you, they're essentially investing their most valuable resource with you. Hence why I love conditional logic, because now you're able to filter out people that are happy to invest their time. So that the leads that come in through your conditional logic form, you know for a fact that these are people who've given you their precious time. Subconsciously, most people don't view it that way, but successful people have viewed that, hey, my most successful, my most valuable resource is not my money, it's the time that I have. Hence why they're very stringent on time. But most people don't think that way. All right. So we want to grab people's time, because if you can, the more time they spend with us, the more time they apply with us, the more time they're investing with us, the better we will, or the quicker and the easier it is to convert them. The same way you guys are investing your time. If you've been watching here from the beginning, we're like 22 minutes in, you're investing your precious time. You could be doing anything, but you're listening and you're watching me. What am I doing? All right. I am getting you to invest your valuable and your precious time so that whenever you're ready, you can move forward with me. This is all done intentional, guys. This is not because, hey, I want to help, of course, but I understand the psychological aspect of getting people to invest their time, and I'm teaching you how to do the same. Anyways, so I like to utilize multiple choice, and let me give an example. So you see, it's like, how soon are you looking to buy? We can use an easy one. We can say, how soon are you looking to sell, as an example. All right, now we can add in multiple options. So let's say we can go ASAP. That's going to filter out the highly intentional people. We can go, let's say, for example, 30 to 60 days. That's going to be the people with warm priority, the warm leads. And then we can add another one where we can say just curious. All right, and this is more of the nurture leads. Okay, now here's the thing. Get your free CMA report, click continue to proceed. All right, we'll obviously have to change that because then they would need to answer this question. All right, but let's put it this way. How soon are you looking to sell? So can you see now we're providing 3 options based from what I mentioned earlier on. Right, we've got as soon as possible, 30 to 60 days, just curious. So someone who selects as soon as possible, we know that this is a hot lead. Okay, someone who says 30 to 60 days, we know this is a warm lead. Someone who says just curious, we know this is a nurtured lead who will convert in future, but not right now. So now what we're telling the system is that, okay, anyone who says as soon as possible, get them to submit a form. So we'll just go end page for leads there. I'll walk you through what that means. Okay, but then someone who says 30 to 60 days, let's actually ask them a question, right? You have 2 options. You can either ask them a question, you can get them to submit a form, or you can close the form where they don't qualify. I'm actually move this so you guys can see. Okay, so there's a submit form, there's go to a question, or there's close form. I personally, what we like to do, anyone who says 30 to 60 days, they're still gonna move forward, guys. So I always like to submit form, because at the end of the day, guys, that person is gonna close. They are gonna close. So it's just a matter of time. Could be logistics, but they will move forward. So I want to get access to the information. But someone who's just curious, now this is what you can do. You can get them to answer a question, and then you can decide if whether they can fill out a form or not. So let's say go to a question. All right. So now when we select go to a question, it's like, okay, what question do you want to ask people who are just curious? So let's say we could say we want a short answer, but ultimately multiple choice works best, because we can say, hey, if they select this option, then let's get them to submit as a lead. If they say, for example, this next option, then let's just not get the information. I'll walk you through what I mean by that. So if we say multiple choice, if they say just curious, we could ask, are you a homeowner currently? Right? This is a question we could ask someone who says they're just curious. We say, are you a homeowner currently? Okay. Now we can add that question. Now that we've asked that question, we want to make sure that we want to get answers. So if we say yes, we'll get them to submit that information, because now we know this is a homeowner, but they're not looking to sell right now, which is okay. But if they say no, let's say, for example, you don't want to talk to people that aren't homeowners right now, then we can say close form. Okay. Now I hope this is not going to confuse you guys. So let's quickly go back through it again. Okay. So get your free CMA report. Click continue to proceed, or we can go select the option. Let's go answer the question below and answer the question below. And get access to your report. Okay, answer question below and get access to your report. So, how soon are you looking to sell? So now we've got 3 options. As soon as possible, 30 to 60 days, just curious. Remember, as soon as possible, those who are hot leads. 30 to 60 days, those who are warm. Just curious, those who we don't know, right? Are you a homeowner and just curious, or are you someone who's not a homeowner and you just want to click around? So now if we say, okay, for everyone that says, yes, I'm looking to sell as soon as possible, this is what we've done. If we go back to conditional logic, all right, let me show you what that looks like. There we go. All right. So question number one, how soon are you looking to sell? So what have we done? So what I've basically said to the system is that anyone who says as soon as possible, show them this end page. So let me show you what that end page looks like so you guys can see. Okay, this is the end page. So what it's basically saying is that this is the end page for leads, where it says, thanks, you're all set. Description, let's say, for example, I'll craft a handmade CMA report and give you a call shortly to ask a few questions. Just as an example, guys, just let them know what to expect. And then we can either get them to call us, they can go to another link where we like to send them to a landing page, or we can send them information about maybe a CMA report or a market update, for example, right? We can do one of the three. If you're going to say go to websites, then you can add in a link and then you can add in the call to action. But my focus now is to walk you through in terms of what is the page that they're going to see if they are a lead, and then what is the page they're going to see if they're not a lead. So you can see here, this one says not a lead. So if we tag it not a lead, this is what they will get. So for example, this is what it would look like. So we can call it this. Let's say, for example, qualified leads. Maybe this would make it easier for you guys to help you understand. So that's the qualified leads. This is what the qualified leads are going to get once they're done going through the entire process. And then this is the non-qualified leads. Right? That's what they're going to get on their side. All right? Awesome. So now take a look at this. Anyone who is a lead in the system will get this. Hey, thanks, you're all set. I'll craft a handmade CMA report and give a call shortly to answer questions, right? Those are the qualified leads, but those who aren't qualified, this is what they're going to get. Let me show you here quickly. Thanks for your interest. Based on your answers, this might not be the best fit for you. Check out our website to see what else we have to offer. I'll just maybe send over a link to my listings as an example. Okay. So now, how does this all play into context? So let's go back. So somebody sees your ad, right? We don't know if they're hot, they're warm, or cold, right? So they would see your ad, and then they would click on your ad, and then this is the form that they would see. All right? Get your free CMA report, answer the question below, and get access to your report. Now, how soon are you looking to sell? Now, let's say somebody selects as soon as possible. So what we have told the system is that anyone who selects as soon as possible, all right, we want to tag them as qualified leads. So they'll be able to go through the process. What is that process? Well, somebody selects as soon as possible, then they'll get to the stage where they can fill out their full name, their email, their phone number, their street address. Okay. Then they will just need to review their information. All right. Slide to submit. And then once that happens, bada bim, bada boom. Thanks, you're all set. I'll craft a handmade CMA report and give you a call shortly to ask you a few questions. Done. All right. Now, what is that process for someone who says 30 to 60 days? It's the same process because remember, as I said, they're still going to sell in 30 to 60 days. So we might as well still talk to them. So if somebody says 30 to 60 days, they'll go through the same process, fill out their information. All right. And then they'll be able to slide to submit to confirm. And then that's exactly what they're going to see. Now, remember, as I said, somebody who says that they're just curious, we want to make sure that if you're curious, that's okay. Right? Because I said every lead is still a good lead. It just depends in terms of how you need to structure it. If someone is just curious, what we want to know, is this person a homeowner or they're not a homeowner? Because if they're a homeowner, we can put them in our database because we now know we can still help that person. It may not be now, but they will want to move forward eventually. Okay, as an example. So now let's go back. Anyone who then says, I'm just curious, right? If they select here, just curious, we want to ask them a question. Bada bim, bada boom. This question here, which is, are you a homeowner currently? That's what's going to happen. I don't know if I'll be able to preview that over here. Let's see if it's going to show. No, I don't think it's going to show. All right. But this is what would happen, guys. If somebody selects just curious, there's going to be another question that pops up. So just to help you guys understand, if somebody selects here, just curious, right? We've told the system, we want you to ask them a question. Are you a homeowner? So we said, go to a question, right? So anyone who selects just curious, this is the question that will pop up. Are you a homeowner currently? Now, if they say yes, then they'll be able to fill out the information. When we get their information, their full name, their email, their phone number, their street address, they'll be able to review the information, and then we can create that handmade CMA report because they're still a homeowner. But now, if somebody says, just curious, now we open up this question, are you a homeowner currently? And they say no, now we tell the system, non-qualified lead. So what would happen is that because we walk them through the non-qualified lead process, anyone who says that they are not a homeowner, right, they would not be able to give us the information because they're not qualified. So the system will automatically block them out. Remember, guys, we've got the gatekeeper in place. The gatekeeper is there to make sure that we're blocking out anyone who's not qualified. So they won't be able to give us their name, their email, their phone number, and their street address. They're not even going to exist in our database. Okay, they won't even be able to go through this review process because remember, the only way or the only reason why they would see this page is because they've given us the information, but they won't be able to go through that process. The only thing they're going to see if they say no is this here. Thanks for your interest, but based on your answers, this might not be the best fit for you. Check out our website to see what else you have to offer. So anyone who says that no, they're not a homeowner will go directly to this page, which is based on your answers, this may not be the best fit for you. But if they are a homeowner, this is what they're going to see, and they'll be able to provide the information. And that is the key here, guys, behind this entire process to make your lives a lot easier. The whole purpose of the filtration process is to qualify their intention so that we can segment it to high priority leads, all right, medium priority leads, and low priority leads, because now you'll be able to see all the leads that said as soon as possible. So you can prioritize those leads and call them as soon as possible and set up that appointment, right? And then you can also see those who said 1 to 30 days. So you can still prioritize them, okay, and set up that appointment. And then you're able to see the low priority leads, those who said that they're just curious. Now you can just do a desktop valuation for those people because they said yes, they're just curious, but you know that they are homeowners purely because they selected yes. You will not get any leads coming into your database of people who said that they're just curious, but they're not homeowners. And that is the power, guys, behind autopilot qualification, because this happens all on autopilot. You don't have to worry about anything else after that. Anyways, guys, I hope this has helped many of you guys understand the whole process of the qualification process. I really wanted to break it down in full detail for you guys to understand the power and the value behind this. If you guys got a lot of value in this, guys, please feel free to subscribe, like, share, and comment. Share this with another agent for those who may be a bit confused in terms of how this process works. But I really wanted to break it down in full detail for you guys to get the understanding of how this process works. It's very simple if you apply everything correctly. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care and cheers.